No, it's not smooth. Asking a dumb question. Asking a dumb question makes you look crazy.
In the course of his illustrious career, Diddy, the genius behind the song I'll Be Missing You, has been confronted with more than just the spotlight. He is 54 years old, and his sons, King and Justin, have confirmed the frightening claims that have been circulating about him. These rumors include federal authorities conducting raids on his properties and a long-standing dispute with 50 Cent. Things have reached a point where they are about to explode. To what extent have his sons divulged his secrets? And what is the connection between all of this and the public and private life of their father? The confessions that everyone is talking about are revealed in this video, which you can watch here. To begin, however, it is necessary to briefly investigate Diddy's early life in order to establish the context for the rumors that his sons later corroborated. Diddy's early life and upbringing. Diddy, who was born on November 4, 1969 in Harlem, New York, entered the world during a period in which the city was characterized by its roughness and its abundance of difficulties. His father, Melvin Combs, held a number of jobs, including that of a cab driver and an employee at the Board of Education. Meanwhile, his mother, Janice, managed to make ends meet by working a number of professions, including teaching and modeling. In spite of the fact that Melvin's time spent in Diddy's life was cut short, he passed away when Diddy was only 2 years old because of his illness. During his formative years, his mother and grandmother, Jessie Smalls, emerged as the most influential persons in his life. One of the most heartbreaking stories is the one of how Diddy found out about the passing of his father. He was under the impression that his father had been killed in a vehicle accident for the majority of his youth. However, when I was 14 years old, I went to the public library, and there I discovered a horrible fact. There was a fatality at Central Park involving Melvin. When young Diddy made this discovery, it was a moment that changed his life forever. In addition, despite the fact that it must have been quite upsetting, it did not prevent him from achieving his goals. On the contrary, it appeared to strengthen his resolve to establish himself as a successful individual. Perhaps in order to pay tribute to the memory of a parent whom he had just a brief opportunity to get to know. Even though he did not have a father figure in his life, Diddy has expressed his fondness for his youth. According to him, he did not have a troubled childhood on any level. Love was all about Diddy, despite the fact that he had to deal with the hard reality of losing his father at such an early age. Throughout his life, his mother Janice was there to provide him with support and to make certain that both he and his younger sister, Keisha, were well taken care of. Further contributing to Diddy's success was his grandmother, Jessie Smalls, who was instrumental in providing him with the foundation he required to flourish. Due to the fact that Diddy lived in Harlem until 1982, he was able to experience the thriving culture of the area. He was captivated by the burgeoning rap movement, and even when he was a preteen, he would sneak out of the house at night to witness the pioneers of hip-hop, which included legendary artists such as Run DMC, KRS-One, and Grandmaster Flash. This was a significant act of defiance on my part. It was the beginning of a passion for music that would last a lifetime and eventually come to define his professional life. During the year 1982, when Diddy was approximately 12 years old, his family relocated to Mount Vernon, New York, after his mother purchased a home in that location. Diddy made a huge transition when he moved from the hectic streets of Harlem to a more suburban setting. This was a significant change for Diddy. At this time, he went to a number of different schools, such as the St. Charles Borromeo School in New York, the Mount Vernon Montessori School, and later, Mount St. Michael Academy, which is a Catholic school in the Bronx that is designated only for male students. Mount St. Michael is the place where the infamous nickname Puffy, which was given to Diddy, was born. There are a few diverse accounts on the manner in which he came to be known by that name. There are many who believe that it was due to the fact that he used to show his chest when playing football in order to terrify the opposing squad. Some people believe that it was due to his bad temper, which would sometimes get out of hand and cause him to become enraged. No matter what happened, the nickname remained, and soon, people all over the world would start to refer to him as Puff Daddy. However, he finally changed his name to Diddy. Diddy exhibited the industriousness that would later come to define his profession even when he was still a youngster. Due to the fact that he was only 12 years old at the time, he was not old enough to have a job delivering newspapers. However, he was always ready to assist his mother financially. At the same time, he did not allow that to deter him. He arrived at an agreement with the young man who was going to be abandoning the local paper route in order to attend college. He agreed to take over the job and give the elder lad 50% of his weekly earnings. In addition to that, Diddy's work ethic continued. Playland Park, an amusement park located in Rye, New York, was his place of employment later on. While working at a restaurant there, I frequently worked double shifts. When Diddy graduated from Mount St. Michael Academy in 1988, he had already begun his career in the music industry by dancing in music videos for musicians such as Babyface, Doug E. Fresh, and the Fine Young Cannibals. He had already begun his journey into the world of music already. In addition to this, he had been immersing himself in the culture and spirit of hip-hop, and it was abundantly evident that he would be working in the entertainment sector in the future. Following his graduation from high school, Diddy entered Howard University, where he pursued a degree in business administration. This was the next logical step in his life. It was everything but ordinary for him to spend time at Howard. He was not merely present in the classroom. To his usual standards, Diddy worked very hard. In addition to managing his studies, he also promoted concerts, sold t-shirts and sodas, and organized parties. He also maintained a shuttle business that took passengers to and from the airport. Even when he was in college, his unrelenting energy and boundless determination distinguished out. On the other hand, Diddy's desire to achieve success brought him back to New York City in a short amount of time. Andre Harrell, the founder of Uptown Records, was introduced to him by his buddy Dwight Myers, who is better known in the music industry as Heavy D. This connection took place in the year 1990. Diddy was presented with the option to participate in an internship at the label that was not compensated. While most people would have been hesitant to work for free, Diddy viewed it as a chance to establish himself as a contender for the position. Every weekend, he would take the train from Washington, District of Columbia, where he was still attending Howard University, to New York City, where he would work at Uptown. This travel lasted for several months. The efforts that Diddy put out were not overlooked. Andre Harrell, who eventually became Diddy's mentor, lauded him as the intern who performed the most diligent work he had ever witnessed. After a short period of time, Diddy's efforts began to bear fruit. In 1991, just 1 year after beginning his job as an intern, he was elevated to the position of Director of Artists and Repertoire. This position bestowed upon him the opportunity to mold the careers of musicians and to initiate the process of establishing himself as a formidable figure in the music industry. Rise in the music industry. As Diddy was working to create his name at Uptown, he began to run into legal problems and controversies that eventually caught up with him. It was in 1993 when he was finally fired from the label as a result of these complicating circumstances. However, this setback was not the end, but rather a turning point in the journey. Soon after Diddy left Uptown, he established his own record company, Bad Boy Records, with the intention of taking control of his own fate from that point on. Diddy wasted no time in putting up a roster of talented artists after Bad Boy immediately built a name for themselves by forming a partnership with Arista Records. It was one of his first steps to bring Christopher Wallace, also known as the legendary B.I.G., along with him. Wallace had already begun to attract recognition, but it was under Diddy's supervision that he would become a monumental figure in the hip-hop community. Wallace was a significant contributor to the rise of Bad Boy Records, along with Craig Mack. There was a significant turning point for both Wallace and Bad Boy Records when the debut album of the renowned B.I.G., titled Ready to Die, was released in the year 1994. As a result of the album's enormous success, both critically and commercially, Diddy's reputation as a pioneer in the music industry was further cemented. Taking advantage of this momentum, Diddy expanded Bad Boy's roster by signing singers the likes of Diddy. Was not only concerned with managing musicians, he also established the hitmen, an in-house production company that worked with some of the most well-known personalities in the music industry through their collaborations. Mary J. Blige, Usher, Mariah Carey, TLC, Boys II Men, Aretha Franklin, and a great number of other iconic artists were among the artists that this team collaborated with. Diddy began to develop in ways that showed his aspirations beyond the realm of music as the year 2000 drew near. During the early 2000s, he began performing under the stage name P. Diddy, and he continued to achieve popularity with his second album, The Saga Continues, which was released in 2001. Through collaborations, he was able to keep his artistic significance alive. One of these collaborations was the hit Shake Your Tail Feather, which won a Grammy in 2004 and featured him working with the rapper Nelly. Diddy had already established himself as a multi-dimensional force by the time he won that Grammy. He was able to successfully balance his positions as a fashion magnate, a musician, and a producer. The year 2005 marked the second time that Diddy reduced his name by removing the P, and the following year, he released the album Press Play. His album, The Last Train to Paris, was released in 2010, and it featured the female vocal trio Dirty Money. He continues to experiment with sound and style throughout his career. He incorporated elements of dance music, disco, and rap into this effort, which was a break from his typical hip-hop offerings. The result was something completely inventive. Even though Diddy experimented with various sounds, he never totally strayed from his hip-hop roots during the course of his career. It was in 2015 when he released the mixtape MMM, which featured collaborations with significant figures in the hip-hop scene and featured him returning to the name Puff Daddy. In 2021, Diddy made a significant personal change by formally changing his middle name from John to Love. This marked the beginning of a new phase in both his personal life and professional career. The next year, he released the Love album titled Off the Grid, which was a project that was nominated for a Grammy and featured collaborations with notable musicians such as The Weeknd and Mary J. Blige. The personal life of Diddy is just as dramatic as his professional life. It is full of highs and lows, and it also includes a large family that is expanding daily. The birth of his first biological kid, a son named Justin, marking the beginning of his journey into fatherhood, took place in the year 1993. The mother of Justin Hilton is Misa Hilton, who is a well-known fashion designer and stylist. During the early stages of Diddy's ascent to popularity, she was in a relationship with Diddy. One of the proudest moments for Diddy as a parent was when his son Justin followed in his father's footsteps by embracing success in his own unique manner, attending UCLA on a football scholarship and graduating in 2016. Diddy's romance with Kimberly Porter was the one that lasted the longest and was possibly the most well-known. Over the course of their relationship, which began in 1994 and continued intermittently until 2007, it was distinguished by both love and instability simultaneously. Diddy's personal life was significantly impacted by Kimberly Porter, and he even adopted her son Quincy, who was born from her previous engagement with the musician Al B. Shaw. Diddy's adoption of Quincy was a public demonstration of his dedication to his family, and he reared Quincy as if he were his own child. Diddy produced 3 additional children with Porter as his partner. In the year 1998, they became parents for the first time to a son named Christian. Then, in 2006, Porter gave birth to a pair of identical daughters whose names are Jessie James and Delilah Starr. Diddy's growing family was filled with even more happiness after the arrival of the twins. On the other hand, tragedy struck in November of 2018 when Porter passed suddenly unexpectedly from pneumonia. Diddy and his children were dealt a tragic blow when she passed away unexpectedly, and her passing has left an indelible imprint on the dynamic of their family. An additional daughter was born to Diddy in 2006, barely 5 months before, to the birth of his twins, despite the fact that Diddy's relationship with Porter was the most important aspect of his personal life. Chance is the name of the daughter that Sarah Chapman gave birth to. The romantic life of Diddy continues to garner attention. particularly throughout the 11 years that he was in a relationship with Cassie Ventura, which lasted from 2007 to 2018. Their romance was closely followed by the media as well as fans, despite the fact that they never had children together via their relationship. In the course of his children's development, Diddy made certain that their significant life events were commemorated in a magnificent manner. The extravagant birthday celebrations of both of his eldest boys were highlighted in the television show My Super Sweet 16 on MTV. It was reported that Diddy made news for his expensive present of a Maybach for $360,000, which he gave to Justin for his 16th birthday. Christian, his second son, was also a guest at a party that was attended by celebrities, and he was presented with not one but two automobiles as a birthday present. With the birth of his seventh kid, a female, on October 15, 2022, Diddy became a father for the seventh time. The majority of the time, her mother, Dana Tran, has remained out of the public eye. However, Diddy has embraced his new role as a father once again, which demonstrates his unwavering dedication to his family, regardless of the circumstances. In November of 2022, Diddy and Christian, his second eldest son, accomplished a significant milestone, which is considered to be a momentous occasion in the annals of Diddy's family history. The father-son duo made history by being the first ever to achieve hit #1 status simultaneously. With his record Go to Move On, Diddy climbed to the top of the adult R&B airplay chart on Billboard. Meanwhile, Christian, performing under his stage name, King Combs, topped the US urban radio chart on Media Base with his song Can't Stop, Won't Stop, which featured Kodak Black. Controversies. All throughout his life and career, Diddy has been embroiled in a number of important scandals that have lasted for decades. He has remained to preserve his high-profile standing in the music industry, despite the fact that a number of the situations that have occurred around him have led to questions being raised and public scrutiny being directed toward him. In 1997, Diddy was confronted with legal challenges when Inga Bongo filed a lawsuit against him for landlord neglect. The allegations, on the other hand, were refuted by Diddy, who maintained that he was innocent of the charges. Another incident took place in April 1999, just 2 years after the release of the music video for Nas's song Hate Me Now, which included Diddy in a controversial scene. This event occurred after the music video was released. Diddy and two other individuals apparently invaded the office of Steve Stoute, Nas's former manager, in order to engage in a heated altercation. They were upset by the manner in which the footage was shown. As a consequence of this, Stoute filed a lawsuit against Diddy, which ultimately resulted in an out-of-court settlement of $500,000. Diddy was first charged with assault, but by September of that year, he had pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of harassment and was sentenced to attend 1 day of anger management sessions. But the charges against him were reduced to harassment. In December of 1999, there was yet another significant controversy that occurred. According to reports, a disagreement between Diddy, his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, and the rapper Shyne escalated in a nightclub in New York City, resulting in a chaotic situation involving all three of them. In the aftermath of the incident, both Diddy and Shyne were taken into custody for a variety of infraction offenses. As a result, the legal process took a considerable amount of time, and throughout this period, Diddy continued to be the subject of significant public attention. Another instance of Diddy's legal troubles occurred in the year 2001, when he was taken into custody in Florida for driving with a license that had been suspended. Despite the fact that this charge was unrelated to the more serious controversies that surrounded him, it contributed to the growing public perception of Diddy's legal issues. By 2003, his apparel brand, Sean John, was also being investigated for possible wrongdoing. According to a study by the National Labor Committee, factories in Honduras that produce Sean John products are reportedly breaking labor rules. Among the allegations that were contained in these investigations were allegations of unfair treatment of workers, including body searches and other severe working conditions. Diddy had a response to the criticism, in which he addressed the concerns that were highlighted regarding his brand. In 2015, Diddy was detained after an altercation that occurred at UCLA, where his son was playing football. This incident brought Diddy back into the public eye. According to reports, the incident took place between Diddy and one of the trainers, which resulted in charges of aggravated assault being filed against Diddy. In 2023, the singer Cassie, whose actual name is Cassandra Ventura, initiated a serious legal action against the defendant. According to the allegations that Cassie made in the complaint, her relationship with Diddy was marked by a pattern of problematic behavior that lasted for more than a decade. Their relationship allegedly started in 2005, when she was 19 years old and Diddy was 37 years old, according to her claims. Cassie has described their time together as one that was fraught with emotional hardship over the course of their relationship, particularly in 2018, when she made an effort to put some distance between herself and Diddy. Parts of her lawsuit appeared to be supported by an incident that occurred in 2016, in which Diddy's actions were captured on surveillance camera in a hotel in Los Angeles. She referenced this incident as evidence. The video shows Diddy engaging in a furious argument with Cassie, which can be seen in the video. Although Diddy's counsel underlined that the payment was not an admission of wrongdoing, the complaint was settled shortly after it was filed. Diddy chose to address the matter amicably, which resulted in the payout. Joy Dickerson-Neal filed a second complaint against Diddy in November 2023. In this claim, she accused Diddy of engaging in inappropriate behavior beginning in 1991, when she was a college student. According to her, Diddy had allegedly put her under a lot of pressure to spend time with him. In addition, throughout that period of time, a number of occurrences took place that caused her to feel uneasy. In the aftermath of the incident, Dickerson-Neal asserted that she had contacted the authorities. However, the reaction was limited due to the worries of individuals working in the business. Additionally, at approximately the same time, a different plaintiff who preferred to remain anonymous filed a separate case in which they accused Diddy and another individual of engaging in inappropriate behavior during the early 1990s. Previously, claims for older instances were not permitted under the statute of limitations. However, this action was filed in accordance with a temporary law in the state of New York that allowed for such claims. During this time period, the growing number of legal challenges brought against Diddy was influenced by this case, as well as by a great number of other cases. In December of 2023, a new claim surfaced, in which the plaintiff asserted that Diddy had engaged in inappropriate behavior during an event that took place in the year 2003. The allegation implied that Diddy's behavior at the time violated certain boundaries, which prompted additional legal examination. A separate lawsuit, filed by a former model named Crystal McKinney, who had filed a complaint involving a similar occurrence in 2003, adding to the growing number of complaints. This case was filed in conjunction with the incident in question. Through the month of February in the year 2024, yet another legal action was initiated, this time by the music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones. Jones said that during his dealings with Diddy, he had been put in awkward positions, including being coerced into attending events that were not in line with his personal or professional principles. Jones's allegations concerned the fact that he had been subjected to these situations. Jones further asserted that because of the advantages that come with interacting with high-profile celebrities, other people in the industry may have ignored similar incidents because of the perks that they receive. The case continued to garner the attention of the media despite the fact that Diddy's legal team denied these allegations as meaningless and reckless. Dawn Richard, a former bandmate of Diddy's, filed a lawsuit in 2014, revealing her experience while working with Diddy. This further complicated Diddy's public image. Richard accused Diddy of mistreating her and others during their time together, including withholding funds for work and making her feel uncomfortable in professional settings. Richard's allegations were mentioned in the lawsuit where he filed the lawsuit. In addition to the numerous problems that Diddy has been involved in over the years, these charges portrayed a picture of a tough working relationship between the two of them. During the month of September 2024, the situation became more serious when Diddy was taken into custody after being indicted by the federal government on charges of racketeering and other unlawful conduct. According to the allegations made by the prosecution, Diddy and his colleagues were responsible for creating an atmosphere in which persons who were close to him were coerced into circumstances that violated both moral and legal norms. However, his defense team remained steadfast in their assertion of his innocence, describing the charges as unjust and pledging to contest the prosecution's case. After Diddy entered a plea of not guilty, he was denied bail because the prosecution argued that he had previously sought to exert influence on individuals who were involved in these legal proceedings. In spite of the numerous allegations that have been made against him, Diddy has persistently refuted the allegations. In statements made to the public, he has referred to the charges as being baseless and has provided evidence that some persons were only looking for cash reward. In response to a lawsuit, Diddy declared that he would fight for my family, my name, and the truth. However, the lawsuit was dismissed. He has continued to be defended by his legal team, who has maintained that many of the allegations are without foundation and that Diddy is still confident in his ability to clear his name. Rumors confirmed by Sons. Following the raids that were conducted by federal officials at Diddy's houses in March of 2024, the general public and the media were quick to speculate on the consequences of this probe. On the other hand, his kids, King and Justin, each had their own unique viewpoint regarding the events that were place, and they were not shy in expressing their opinions. When the raids took place, King and Justin were present at Diddy's residence in Holmby Hills, which is located in Los Angeles. The immediate aftermath was experienced by Diddy's sons, despite the fact that Diddy was in Miami at the time. After being held for a short period of time outside the residence, as is customary in situations of this nature, they were eventually released without being charged with anything. Undoubtedly, the circumstance caused the family to feel apprehensive, with regard to the manner in which the authorities handled it. In a short amount of time, Diddy's attorney came forth to express his dissatisfaction with the manner in which the authorities handled his children and staff during the raid. In his statement, he emphasized what he considered to be an excessive use of force. He stated that Diddy had cooperated with the officials and that there was no justification for such antagonism. Diddy's boys made the decision to leave their father's mansion in Los Angeles after the disturbing raid, despite the fact that Diddy himself was not jailed or restricted in any way. In the days that followed, photographs emerged showing King and Justin carrying their bags into a car, which served as a metaphor for a momentary escape from the pandemonium. Despite this, King did not remain silent for very long until he finally spoke up about the matter and made his position crystal plain. Several weeks after the raids, King posted a mysterious message on Snapchat. The message was vague. One way to put an end to lying is to stop using the phrase "stop with the cap." That this was King's first public response to the claims and controversies that surrounded his father was a common interpretation among many people. He seemed to be directing his words not only at the individuals who were making the allegations, but also at the public narrative that had started to spiral out of hand. King was defending his father and battling those who questioned Diddy's character when he was 25 years old. He was coming into a more public role at that time. During the month of May, King released a new song that was titled "Pick a Side," which maintained this defense. Specifically, he addressed the raids that took place in March, as well as the ongoing legal issues that have been surrounding his father. During the course of the song, King made an allusion to the actual raid by rapping, "Police raid the crib like they think we are selling crack, but we are out here selling tracks, multi-million-dollar plaques." This was one of the most unforgettable lines in the song. Not only did this line refute the notion that there was any kind of crime, but it also highlighted the fact that they had achieved a great deal of success in the musician profession. During the same song, King took a courageous position against 50 Cent, who is considered to be one of Diddy's most vociferous opponents. The long-running animosity between Diddy and 50 Cent reached a new level of intensity when 50 Cent humiliated Diddy on multiple occasions when he was in legal jeopardy. In the song "Pick a Side," King did not shy away from addressing this issue. He made reference to the fact that his father has been the target of hatred from a number of individuals and specifically mentioned 50 Cent. One thing was abundantly clear. King was resolute in his intention to safeguard the legacy and reputation of his father by utilizing his platform to confront critics head-on. On Instagram, 50 Cent, who is never one to back down, instantly responded with a mixture of sarcasm and mocking against the accusation. While he was appearing to be terrified of the song, he played down King's lyrics and claimed that he had never named Diddy's children in his attacks. The tone he used, which was fun, yet dismissive, only served to fuel the continual back and forth that occurred between the two families. King's decision to reference the federal raids in his song was questioned by 50 Cent in a separate post. He suggested that it was not a wise move considering the serious nature of the probe, and he slammed King for her decision. King, however, remained unmoved and continued to demonstrate his allegiance with his father in spite of the attacks that 50 Cent made. Quincy, Diddy's eldest son, spoke on the influence that being raised in the same environment as the hip-hop tycoon had on him during the entire ordeal. He revealed that Diddy had always placed a high emphasis on family and that he frequently brought his children along on tour in order to provide them with a sense of safety. Quincy has continued to provide his brothers his support, even including them in the creative endeavors that he has undertaken his own.